San Francisco 49ers general manager John Lynch met with media today to discuss multiple topics, with one of them being 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. Now, BA has been one of the big topics of discussion of the offseason for the San Francisco 49ers, and due to the potential of extending him beyond just next season, because as you know, Brandon Aiyuk is going to be playing on the 5th-year option pending a contract extension. So John Lynch was asked about that and the thoughts of extending Brandon Aiyuk and all those different types of things. And John Lynch actually gave a couple pretty solid sound bites in regards to his thoughts on keeping Brandon Aiyuk. And not only that, Jauan Jennings is another wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers that isn't technically an unrestricted free agent. He's a RFA, so restricted free agent. So the 49ers have rights, but there's some things that they have to go through. And John Lynch also talked about that as well. But first, take a listen to what John Lynch had to say about keeping Brandon Aiyuk now and potentially in the future.
Is the cap coming in higher than expected increase your confidence in extending a player like Brandon Aiyuk?
Well, I think that's, I think that was a welcome sight that, that the cap was going up. I think the thing you have to understand, it went up for everyone, so it's not like unique to our team. But we have some challenges. We have a lot of good players who we've rewarded. Brandon's one that we think incredibly highly of. One of my favorite just guys around our building, the way he approaches the game. He's a competitor. He's a warrior. He plays with such a physicality, also with the grace, the way some of the positions his body can get into. And then he's got a flair for making plays when it mattered most. And he's served us very well as a franchise. And, I think we've got a nice track record of extending the players that are important to us. And Brandon's a guy we want to keep around for a long time.
So I thought John Lynch said multiple things about Brandon Aiyuk that sounded optimistic about keeping Brandon Aiyuk around and obviously wanting to retain him. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Obviously, with it being the combine, you got the entire NFL world here. So these conversations of, hey, what about Brandon? Is he available? What's it going to take to get? Those conversations can happen really easily amongst general managers, agents, et cetera, et cetera. So we have to wait and see. But I would say that my reaction to hearing what John Lynch had to say, I like that he called him one of his favorite guys in the building. I think if you asked any 49er fans, that BA would be one of the favorites amongst the fans. So that makes sense. And he did say that he does envision Brandon Aiyuk being a 49er for a long time, and I felt like that was probably one of the better things he could have said amidst this scenario of not really being able to say a whole lot. Again, there was nothing ultra definitive about it, like, oh yeah, we're going to pay him this, that, the other thing. So there's still work to be done, and like I said, we're at the combine, so a lot of conversations can be had right now. So it'll be interesting to see, but for the most part, I thought it was a pretty optimistic quote from John Lynch on BA. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below. And also on top of that, we've heard a little bit about Jauan Jennings. So obviously, Jauan is a restricted free agent, so the 49ers control his rights. So there's two options right now. I saw Matt Barrows reported this first. They could either throw a second round tender on him, or they can sign him to a contract extension. So if they throw a second round tender on it, from my understanding is a team can come in and negotiate a new contract with Jauan Jennings to sign him. The 49ers would then have the opportunity to either match that contract to keep Jauan or let Jauan go, and whichever team signs him sends the whatever tender that they place on him. So if it's a second round tender, 49ers would get a second round pick it's effectively almost like a sign and trade, if you will. So, and there's also the option that they just flat out extend him to, sign him to a contract extension. So I know the 49ers love Jauan. Jauan is such an energy guy. He does a lot of good things as a blocker. He was almost a Super Bowl MVP damn near with how he played. So Jauan is a guy that the 49ers love, loved in the locker room, loved by the fans as well. That's another guy that 49ers fans don't want to see Jauan go anywhere. So it's going to be really interesting to see what is going to go down with these two wide receivers for the San Francisco 49ers. Two high-profile guys. Well, one really high-profile guy, second-team All-Pro, and then one guy who's just been, a role player for the most part, but plays a big role. So going to be fascinating to see what happens when it's all said and done. But, hey, obviously the 49ers want to continue to compete, not only within the division, but within the conference, and potentially try to get back to the championship. You would love to have Brandon Aiyuk and Jauan Jennings a part of that, rather than trying to have to reset your wide receiver room, potentially go into the draft and free agency to try to make it work with new guys to learn the system and learn the culture and all those different types of things. Obviously it can be done, it's just more challenging. So gonna be really interesting. Obviously I already know how you guys feel. I know how I feel. We want to keep Brandon Aiyuk here, keep Jauan Jennings here, reload, retool, and get ready to go on another run at this thing. So this is kind of that time of the year where teams kind of hit the reset button, This is where they get after it and start building the team, scouting, doing all those different types of things to get back to the dance. So we'll see what happens, but let me know what you guys think about what John Lynch had to say about Brandon Aiyuk, what he had to say about Jauan Jennings. Let me know about all this in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.
Let's go home! Double A!